Alright, so everything had a chance to dry, and it's really coming along. There's really a lot of little detail in this little piece. So what we got to do now in this video is we're actually going to do the final assembly, and that's going to involve the floor. So what we got to do is we got to take piece B17, so that's this section right here, and we actually have to separate the end. But what we have to do is we're going to go ahead and we're actually going to fold it. So it might be easier to do that while they're still together. So after we do that, we need to take this piece and we need to fold these up, and we're going to actually glue the pieces together. So let's start with B17. And I got my trusty goggles. There we are. So I think what I'm going to do, you can see where we need to separate it. I think I'm going to leave it on so we can bend all of the pieces and make sure they're all bent the same way. So again, instead of the Photoetch, I've been using the needle nose pliers because I think they do a better job. Alright, so I got to get this lined up. Make sure that everything is lined up the same way, just like that. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to bend them up, just like that. See, so we make that classic L shape. And see where it needs to be separated? It's easy to separate. But that's going to leave a tiny little indentation, and we need to go ahead and we need to remove that. And just like that, it's finished. It looks really good. Now all I want to do is just get rid of that little piece that's sticking off from the parts tree. So that looks pretty good. Okay, so now what we got to do is we need to remove, let's see, this is piece number B16, and you can see this is going to be actually part of the floor. Oh, let's see, there's another one over here. Alright, that's better. So now we need to bend these pieces up, and I gotta make sure these are straight first. That's the beauty of these little tiny needle nose pliers. Are just a wonderful tool. Okay, now I'm going to bend them up. I want to make sure I'm going to bend it in the right part, and I've been using my laptop for the instructions. Let's see. So hopefully you guys can see. We're going to bend. This is, let's see, we're going to add parts B17 to B16 as shown. Ensure that there is a 0.5 millimeter gap here. So we got to do the gap on the right side, and this is actually going to go right here. Add to the assemble, and to the model, it should be perfectly slotting around the frames. So you can see how it's going to go in. That's why we need the gap. Okay. Make sure we get that right. And again, because I don't have, my printer is giving me problems and I'm unable to print out the instructions. I wish they would have come with instructions that were printed. All right, so I want to make sure I'm going to be folding this in the correct spot. All right. Good thing I'm checking that. All right, so it's going to go like this, right where the tab is. And forgive me, I'll show you guys in a moment. Right there. Kind of looks like a shark's fin. And this is going to go this way. There. Just like that. So I got to make sure that these are straight. And what we need to do is, while it's in this position, we're actually going to take this, and I want to make sure that it's bent enough. I might need to bend it a little bit more, so let's go ahead and so we're going to have this section, and let me show you guys, this is actually going to be glued up against this. So you see where the rivets are? There's these little areas that are not finished. That's where this has to go up against. So let's take some glue. That. And this is going to be tricky. Where are my tweezers? So now what we have to do is we have to take this section and we got to put it onto here. So let me, so I know this is really small, guys. Let's see how we're doing it. So now we got to do the same thing with this piece. Right. And again, I want to make sure it's in an L shape, so we have to bend it a little bit more. You can always go back and bend it more. There. This Photoetch is really nice and thick, so okay, let me put a little bit of glue. Same thing over here, and we have to mind the gap. If not, we can just, I don't want to have to cut, so okay. See how that looks? And please forgive me, I know it's super tiny and my big clumsy hands are trying to, I don't want them to get in the way. Alright, so let's give that a second to set. And what do we have to do with that? Let's take a look. So once that's everything is set, add the assemble to the model here. It should be perfectly slotting around the frames. So you can see how the floor is going to go. It's going to go under that section right there, the form like a corner. You can see some of the corrosion. So hopefully mine lines up as well as the instruction picture. So we're going to take it And according to the instructions, it's supposed to go right here. So this has to go right up against that wall piece. Alright, that's a little bit more what I need. Hopefully you can see the openings. Alright, so let me put this back on. A little bit of glue. Alright, hopefully you guys can see now. Let me see how we need to have that gap, because the girders actually need to slide in between them. Alright, let's try that again. So these need to go up against the floorboard of the floor. See how it needs to go right up against this piece of the wall? Alright, so let's get this all set into position, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'll glue it. You know, I'm thinking for this, let's see, I'm going to use a little bit of the super glue as well, because it's more liquefied. So in the little joints, I'm going to use just a little bit up against the floor joist. There. See how that looks? I think that looks pretty cool, because there can't be any gaps. I realize the ship was torn apart, but we still have, you know, the workmanship of Titanic, where everything is going to be plumb. So we got to make sure that that's all set, and that's gonna set nicely. Okay, so what do we have left? We got a few pieces left, and it looks like I actually missed one of the B-17s. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take care of that right now. Alright, so we got that one piece right here. Let's see, a little bit of glue. That's a little better. Alright, so what do we got? It looks like we have a couple of more pieces for the floor, so let's go ahead and check to see what we need to do with that. And again, this is a real pain. Alright, let's... Okay, this is done. So now we have to take parts B19 onto the underside of B18 for the two small folding plates. So this is what we need to do. And it looks like those are going to go on this side. Alright. So B19, let's see, are the top two plates, and then we have the bottom, that's one piece. Alright, so let's get these off. Okay, so I need to straighten these pieces out because they look pretty terrible. And they got to be straight, obviously. Alright, so those look good. And what we need to do is we need to glue these onto the part. So what we need to do is we got to fold this section. Alright, so the way they look, These are going to go right up against the last girder. So this has to go this way. It's going to go like this. So I think what I want to do is we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put some glue in that area. And what I need to do is this has to be perfectly aligned to the floor on the left side, because obviously it's not going to be higher. So that looks pretty even. See how it's supposed to look? You get the floor that's going to be running the length of the section. And we can take into account that it could have, that the floorboards and the joists could have bent because of the enormous strain that this section had. So this looks good. It's nice and straight going all the way across. Okay, so now what do we do with sections B? These were B19, so let's see what we do with that. They get glued to the bottom. Okay, so let's put a little bit of glue. And then we're going to drop them into place. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing for the other one. And make sure that the rivets are facing, the cluster is on top. You got to figure the enormous pressure of the breakup. So there, those actually went on the bottom. Okay, so now according to the instructions, let me try to show you guys. The model is complete. So let me show you guys. Let me clean everything up a little bit, and then we're going to take a look. So all in all, this model was really wasn't that bad to put together. The instructions, the wood, the pieces fit together nicely. The beauty is that it was Photoetch, and that it was easy to file down if we needed to. Because it's Photoetch, we could bend it the way we needed to bend it. And because it's Photoetch, it was able to hold a lot of the detail. So this is the completed model. And just to double check or confirm, you guys can see we used all the pieces except for Maritime models, and I'll be using that for something else. We're going to do a display base for this, and I'm going to light it the way it's lit in the exhibition. But that's going to be further down the road. We just got to finish the model. So they do give that nice logo. So when it comes to the model itself, the big piece in the museum, or the display in Vegas, it is black. So when they brought it up, what they actually did was they actually desalinized it. So it's a process to get all the contaminants from the ocean off of the metal. So they cleaned everything, and then they put like a protective, like a waxy substance on it, just to preserve it, and to prevent any further deterioration. So because it is black, the next video we're going to start painting, and we're going to come up with a plan on how we're going to paint this to make it look as close to the way she looks now in the display. But for now, we have to let everything set, and then we'll be ready to move on. So my friends, if you're doing this model, it really wasn't too bad to put together, and it's going to be fun when we stop painting. So until my next video, my friends, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.